And that was just 12 years ago. All those people floating around.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Someone showed me a photo from school the other day, like a buddy of mine, and I was actually able to name all of the people, but then, I went to school with those guys for like 5 years, not like 3 days.
And I mean, he's not with them the whole time, too. With Lorraine, doesn't he just see her, like, so she takes off his pants, and then he sees her at school, then he sees her at the diner, then at the dance.
Yeah, she takes off his pants, they have dinner.
Didn't they call the kid an idiot? Doesn't the dad like he's an idiot?
Yeah.
What's a rerun? Yeah. And yeah, dinner. He ducks out on that dinner. He doesn't even eat.
He ducks out because, his mother's getting inappropriate with him under the table.
Yeah. That's another callback.
And then he just then he goes off to Doc, and then, he just sees her like a couple of times before the dance. And then, he spends like a little bit more time with George trying to pep him up and, convince him to.
Yeah. I don't think George remembers anything. That guy's so squirrely. Yeah, but like I think that makes sense. Chris Pratt, I think, defended that decision on Twitter. And James Gunn maybe said that might be an issue. Then Pratt stepped up, and then Bob Gale spoke out. So, I mean, this movie came out, 35 years ago? And people are still arguing about that, if it's a plot hole or not. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Like, the thing is, they would not, you wouldn't associate what your son grows up to be as, somebody you met, like, years ago. You might think on and off, because you've seen them grow up. So you're just like, obviously that's Marty.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like all of a sudden he just appeared fully grown as Michael J. Fox. They've watched him grow up.
And that's what I love about this movie, though, that people are arguing this. Like, the people are passionate. And, oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you look through this, but have you looked through the trivia section on IMDb?
Yeah.
So normally I read everything. I had to stop. It is oppressively long.
Yeah, it goes on.
Right? Have you ever seen a trivia page as long as that one?
Not that I can think of.
I mean, I go through a lot of these trivia pages for the podcast and writing and research.
308 entries, apparently.
How many?
308.
Wow. Yeah, I made it through about 73. I'm like, that's enough. Because then it starts repeating itself to a certain extent.
Yeah, there are certain ones where it's just like, it's variations on a theme, perhaps maybe from a different source or something.
And I guess one more thing. I think Doc Brown has the greatest screams in cinema history. This is the way he yells. And just like, remember when he's trying to put that thing together and then it doesn't happen and he screams and then the tree falls on it? Like, that's a stressful little moment.
Yeah.
And I guess DeLoreans their speedometers only went to 85. They had to fix it to 95 for the movie.
Yeah, well, I think, the interesting thing of that is that's probably why the doc put the digital speedo in there.
Yeah, you're right. Oh,
because the 85, so he needed the digital one to. Plus, it looked cool on film, like having the.
And Marty hated that car.
Yeah. They're apparently an absolute bitch to drive. Like. Good cars. It's Ireland's sole contribution to the automotive industry. Like, they were built in Belfast in this factory. It folded after 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, they are by all accounts just horrible, horrible cars to drive.
Now, Belfast is that's my favorite place on earth, man. I've been there twice, and I've had the Guinness from Madden's. I think Duke of York's my favorite bar on the planet. We went there 1 year, and then we went back 2 years later. And they remembered us. And the owner of the bar went and got the bartender who sued us 2 years prior and brought him over. And we just had a bunch of drinks. So, they're the coolest people. Just, I love Belfast, man. The food, the drinks. Oh, my gosh. The best Guinness I've ever had.
Years.
But they built the Titanic and the DeLorean.
Yeah. There you go.
That's pretty. Those are big.
Did very, very well.
Yeah. The movies featuring them did.
Well, that's true.
And they had Game of Thrones, too. That was crazy.
Yeah, shame about the ending.
Oh, gosh.
I guess these things, they start well enough, but they don't really end very well, do they?
I think that's that's why this movie worked. And you know what I think? I think the sequels of these films worked because they felt, obviously they were cash grabs, but they were they feel organic. They explore the world more, and they're different enough to, they're not retreads of, yeah, they're not retreads. They bring something new. So I think that's why they work. People have said this is the best trilogy ever.
It's definitely up there. I would think, the competition for me would be the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, that what, Lord of the Rings, maybe? The 3?
Oh, that is excellent.
And then, let's see, what else is there? But everyone has a 4, Lethal Weapon 4, Indiana Jones 4,
Yeah.
Bourne 4. Like the Bourne trilogy, that was like a really popular action trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, Die Hard, they did, what, 4, and
5.
Nation that was 5. That was awful.
Oh, gosh. I love 4. 5 crushes my soul.
4 is fine. Like, 4 is a bit of fun. 5 was just dreadful.
It's one of the worst movie watching experiences I've ever had. So hey, I have a question before we get out of here. Any Back to the Future thoughts? Like final thoughts about this?
Yeah, it's just I think I'm probably going to go and watch it again, to be honest. All this talking about it is kind of it's just it's been quite interesting, like just like doing a little bit of research for this, like reading back through like various bits of trivia and stuff that I'd read before but kind of forgotten, and like you forget how much went into it and like how good it is without reading it.
Such a tight script. It's annoying how tight you could teach a class on this.
Well, they do. It's I think I got that from the IMDb trivia page somewhere.
You know what? When I start teaching, if I ever teach screenwriting again, I'm going to bring. People are going, "But you taught screenwriting, didn't do Back to the Future?" I was just trying to make sure my kids could write a page stories before they could write a Back to the Future script. But yeah, no, I'll definitely bring this up. But no, this was fun, man, and thank you for coming on, and thank you for recommending this movie.
Yeah, no worries.
This is good. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Niall Moore, this is Movies, Songs, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.